Genghis Khan, a name that echoes through history as a fierce conqueror, military genius, and founder of the Mongol Empire. But beyond the battlefield, myths swirl around his personal life, especially the tantalizing claim that he had over 1,000 wives and countless children. In this documentary, we dive deep into Mongol traditions, the role of women in the steppe society, and what the historical records actually say. Did he really marry princesses of conquered lands? How many were political alliances versus true unions? And did he really father so many children? Or are those just stories to bolster his legendary status? Modern genetic studies even suggest that 1 in every 200 men today may descend from Genghis Khan's bloodline. But what does that really mean? We'll explore what science, archaeology, and history together can reveal about the man behind the myth. From the steppes of Mongolia to the halls of modern genetics labs, this is the untold truth of Genghis Khan, the man who may have had 1,000 wives. When we think of Genghis Khan, images of a fearsome warrior come to mind. A man who united the nomadic Mongol tribes, forged a mighty army, and carved out an empire stretching from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe. His tactics and achievements are legendary, making him one of the most successful military leaders in history. But beyond his conquests, Genghis Khan was also a man of his times, living and ruling according to the customs and traditions of his nomadic culture. And in that world, polygamy, having multiple spouses, was not uncommon, especially among the elite. To understand the context of Genghis Khan's marriages, it helps to know more about the Mongols and their society at the time. The Mongol Empire, which emerged in the 13th century, was built on the vast grasslands of Central Asia, known as the steppes. Here, the Mongols lived in close-knit communities of clans and family units, constantly on the move with their animals. Their way of life revolved around herding activities, trade along the Silk Road, and a strong sense of loyalty to their bloodlines. Women in Mongol society played a significant role, enjoying more rights and freedoms than their counterparts in many other cultures of that era. They could own property, participate in trade, and even initiate divorce. Now let's talk about the man himself, Genghis Khan. Born in 1160, his original name was Temujin. He rose to unite the disparate Mongol tribes under his banner, establishing a powerful and well-organized empire. His military prowess is undeniable, leading successful campaigns against neighboring kingdoms and empires. But it was also during these conquests that tales of his romantic conquests began to emerge. Stories of Genghis Khan marrying princesses from subjugated lands became part of the Mongol folklore. These tales paint a picture of a charismatic leader winning the hearts of many, but also of a strategic ruler using marriage as a tool for diplomacy and expanding his influence. The claim that he had 1,000 wives seems to have originated from these very stories. However, separating fact from fiction is where things get complicated. Historical records regarding Genghis Khan's personal life are patchy at best. Most of what we know comes from accounts written by his contemporaries or later chroniclers, who often embellish stories for dramatic effect. The famous Secret History of the Mongols, while an invaluable source for understanding the rise of Genghis Khan, doesn't provide a clear picture of the number of his wives. What it does offer is insight into his marriages that were politically motivated. For instance, his marriage to Sorgachani, a princess from a rival tribe he had previously fought against, was seen as a way to unite warring factions and bring stability to the region. In such cases, it wasn't uncommon for Mongol rulers to take additional wives from conquered or allied tribes. Securing peace and creating a sense of unity among the diverse peoples under their rule. Genghis Khan was no exception. But the extent of his unions is hard to decipher from historical accounts alone. The idea of 1,000 wives is staggering. It conjures up images of a massive harem, a sprawling household bustling with activity and intrigue. But how much truth is there to this? Historians have put forth different theories, but none can say with certainty that Genghis Khan had 1,000 wives. Some argue that the number may have been greatly exaggerated. Others suggest that, while he may have taken many wives, the figure of 1,000 is symbolic rather than literal. It could represent the vast number of women encountered through his conquests or the many daughters of his empire. He may have married in order to strengthen bonds between different branches of his family. To separate the wheat from the chaff, we must turn to history's most unlikely ally, genetics. In 2003, a genetics study published in the American Journal of Human Genetics made a sensational claim. It suggested that 1 in every 200 men alive today may be descended from Genghis Khan. This finding was based on the analysis of Y chromosome DNA, which is passed down only from fathers to sons, making it a useful tool for tracing paternal lineages. The study revealed an unusually high frequency of a specific Y chromosome type among men from Mongolia and parts of China, Russia, and Eastern Europe. This finding suggested a recent common ancestor, someone who lived within the past 1,000 years and had a surprisingly large number of sons. Could this be Genghis Khan? While intriguing, the study didn't definitively prove a direct lineage. The high frequency of this Y chromosome type could indicate a common ancestor, but it doesn't specify who that might be. Furthermore, genetics can tell us about paternal lineage, but nothing about the women in Genghis Khan's life or the marriages he may have had. Archaeology also offers some clues, but it's indirect. Excavations at Karakoram, the capital of the Mongol Empire, have uncovered remnants of a royal palace complex. This palace, though grand in scale, doesn't offer any concrete evidence of the extent of Genghis Khan's domestic life. Archaeologists continue to piece together the history of this site, and it may yield more insights into the social structure of the Mongol court, including the presence of multiple wives. But for now, the secrets of Genghis Khan's personal life remain buried beneath the sands of time. So what can we say for sure about Genghis Khan's wives? Historical records do indicate that he had several wives throughout his life, but the exact number is unknown. Some of these marriages were strategic alliances, while others may have been more personal. These unions weren't just about love, they were also about power, tradition, and forging connections across cultural divides. Genghis Khan's wives represented more than just a means to an end. They were participants in a complex web of alliances, traditions, and cultural exchanges that shaped the Mongol Empire. Each marriage would have brought unique customs and traditions into the mix, creating a rich, if sometimes fraught, tapestry of relationships. As we continue to explore the life and legacy of Genghis Khan, it's essential to remember that he was a product of his time. His marriages, both numerous and diverse, reflect the customs and values of a bygone era. They offer a glimpse into a world vastly different from our own, where strategic alliances and cultural exchanges played out against the backdrop of a vast and ever-growing empire. While the claim that he had 1,000 wives may be more myth than reality, the reality of his life was no less fascinating. Each of his wives, with her unique story and background, contributed to the rich legacy of one of history's most enigmatic figures. From his rise to power on the Mongolian steppe to his place as a legendary conqueror, Genghis Khan's life was a complex blend of warfare, diplomacy, and cultural exchange, and his marriages were a microcosm of this, reflecting the broader story of an empire that spanned continents. But what about the genetic link to men alive today? Studies suggesting a common ancestor doesn't necessarily point to Genghis Khan. While intriguing, it needs further research to confirm. After all, genetics can reveal only part of the story. To truly understand the untold truth of Genghis Khan and his wives, we need to delve into history, archaeology, and anthropology, piecing together fragments of evidence to form a complete picture. What emerges is a nuanced portrait of a man who, despite the exaggerations of legend, remains one of history's most fascinating figures. Genghis Khan may not have had 1,000 wives, but his story is far from over. He continues to capture the imagination of historians, geneticists, archaeologists, and anyone fascinated by the mysteries of the past. As research continues, we may uncover more about his life, including the identities and stories of the women who shared his life. For now, their stories remain hidden. waiting for the next archaeological discovery or genetic breakthrough to bring them to light. When we think of